Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you've had a good week or so. I've been out of town. It is May 18th. We're gonna look at the sell-off. We're gonna look at GME, Tesla, SPY, some of the option plays I did while on vacation, while on holiday, traveling, and yeah, kind of interesting perspective. Sub up, like up, comment down. Happy Money sticks around. We have a Twitter you can follow us on at HappyMoneyYT. I got my 8th booster and now I'm fully vaccinated, 2 inches taller. And we have a Discord server, link for that's in the description. And yeah, so when I was on holiday, I was busy a lot with friends and relatives and driving and this sort of thing. And so I didn't want to get into positions that would be too risky, I guess. Too risky to miss out on potentials for GME to squeeze or the cycle to play out or something like that. Since GME is my biggest holding, selling covered calls on it is the best way really for me to kind of just make safer money. So what I was doing, and it was working pretty well actually. Not all markets and all trends can you sell covered calls and kind of scalp how I was doing, but since I've been gone, it's been a pretty nice downtrend up until about here. And yeah, basically in the morning I'd get up and for the first like half hour of the market open, on 2 of my brokerages, I would sell 20 delta covered calls, and I'd put them at the ask because with the morning volatility, typically get filled. And yeah, then by the end of the day, I would look back and I'd close them and be up, 20-30%. And so that worked out pretty well. And I liked it. It was like actually passive income, passive trading, and just reiterating the principle of kind of you're your own problem with your money. You touching your money is what the problem is. Always touching it and handling it and moving it around and this. So kind of just committing to a certain strategy like that was pretty safe. It was pretty far out of the money. Given it could have gotten blown up, and this day, I can't remember if I had closed by this day. I actually made it out of here unscathed for the most part. I'll show you what I did, but I did one covered call I think that got pretty deep in the money, and then I closed it. Let's look at a little TA though. Today's crazy. Today is quite the day to be back. It's Wednesday. This spike actually up here in GME. I've been away, so I don't quite know what happened here. I don't know if this was FTDs or something. But this to me was a good sign of a bottom as well as a reversal. And so I started to go long here because I'm also prepping for another run up into earnings, but maybe after earnings like it was here. Not sure about that yet, but if you look at all this volume, big green doji on the bottom, big doji on the top too, really. But look like a big bottom for me. And I think it could be a bottom, but it's not maybe the beginning of a crazy cycle just yet. Anyway, SPY kind of sold off today, which makes me think we're not going to kind of have another rally. It looks like it just kind of had this consolidation for 7-8 days. And today I think it's probably setting up for another leg down, another gap down in the next 5 days or so. Kind of just like it did here. I think we're probably this day right here. So tomorrow might be bad. In the next couple days, kind of like it did here again. These are big ranges on these days, but it is kind of staying below this 430 and kind of above this 410. So kind of consolidating here and then another gap down, right? So I think that's kind of what we're going through right now. Consolidated below this more or less, and then above this sideways, and I think we'll probably gap down. I was expecting somewhat of a rally like this. Jay Powell didn't, I guess, say anything that would cause a rally like this. I wasn't listening, but yesterday, the day before when he spoke, I think he just basically met expectations. So, and he also said they might go past neutral with interest rates, something along those lines, which I don't think we've heard from him before. He didn't scare the market though, but basically there's nothing bullish right now. I think still an outflow of money is going to keep coming. So TA still looks bearish. We've got basically just these down days, consolidation, down, consolidation, down, consolidation. I think we're getting back into the down today being the first day of it. I did open up some position for that. MACD stayed bearish the entire time. It's been actually really clean trend line on the way down, just stair stepping on this daily chart. For this gap down, I haven't looked technically at how far it could go, but I'm assuming got gaps to fill and stuff down here. If it's going to be as big as these, Figure 365, maybe for that bottom support for the next consolidation range. Maybe even fill up these 350, fill those gaps, 350s. Or maybe this is the big drop, you know, the big 10% days that we've seen in a market crash. Maybe that's going to happen on this down and not just a smaller leg and consolidation. Not too sure, but protection to the downside. And what will happen with GME during that is what I'm most curious about. Tesla did open up short this morning. Wasn't as aggressive as I wanted. I might just even open up another one, even though it's down 7% today, just because I'm not sure if we're going to get a bounce. This might be my only opportunity. On the hourly, it looks like consolidation before another drop. I shared this on our Discord, basically this divergence. So we have lower highs here and then higher highs on the MACD here. So this is a hidden divergence. It's bearish. The RSI is there also. It's just not quite as visible as the MACD divergence. It was throwing off a little bit though, just because there was also kind of this inverse head and shoulders. Before this happened, we had this shoulder, and this head. It's not perfect on there, but was it SPY that had it? Yeah, SPY had a pretty nice one. If you erase this, shoulder, shoulder, head, and I'm like, that's also kind of an inverse head and shoulders. But I think it confirmed that it was just a divergence on the RSI and consolidation and more move down. So yeah, probably going to do a put debit spread on Tesla. Price target for this one probably in the mid like sixes, low sixes, somewhere in here. Or I'm gonna try and get like a month of time, get a lot of time on it, be safe. Yeah, and then just close it out once the move's done. I seem to do better that way. Now, GameStop, what in the world? So if the market's gonna really do this, and GameStop needs to run up for its cycle as it's done like clockwork, how's it gonna play out? Because earnings and the shareholder meeting are on 6/2, I believe. I think the shareholder meeting's then, and it's most likely that earnings will be then also. Maybe it won't be, but let's see, tomorrow's Thursday. That's 2 Thursdays after tomorrow. So that's, let me just put that in here actually. And historically, we've had run-ups into earnings, and then earnings it dumps, right? So I think that's a Thursday. Yeah, it's a Thursday. Last earnings, we ran up after. We had our little cycle pinch after, and that's, I think, because Ryan Cohen moved the earnings up. I don't think it's correlated necessarily with earnings, more with swaps and futures and when they have to roll over. But it just so happens that it's almost always happened before earnings, and then earnings comes out and it dumps. So I'm wondering, and this time it started dumping much earlier. And the gap, I think, between this earnings and the earnings that's coming up, I think is the shortest maybe in the year. It is a pretty short one. It's the same as this one, 323, 69. But see, all these times, of course, it dumps after earnings. So I'm wondering if we're going to have a run up after earnings, like it happened here for the first time, or if we just start ripping the next 3 weeks. Really, it's like 2 weeks. It's not much time at all. It seems more likely that it'll run up after earnings, even though my plays would want it to happen sooner, just because this is so much momentum to the downside. Yes, already it doesn't seem, we haven't really taken some time to bottom. You know, here we've got this double trough, which was even wider, or sorry, the normal trough, a lot wider than the one here. We got the normal little trough here, trough here. I'm expecting some kind of move like this, one of these, to happen before our run up begins. Happened here too, making that kind of higher low. This one was a lower low, but then we had that divergence here on the chart, which was good. And we have another divergence here that's showing it's bullish right here. So this lower low than this one, this is a higher low, and this RSI is higher than this one. So low, high, high, low. So that's indicating a reversal. So at the very least, I think we kind of bounce in this range and then have our cycles rip, but that all has to, I'm wondering how it's going to play out with the market, because if SPY's dumping, I'm not sure if it's just going to be a suppressed cycle and we're just not going to go up much, maybe to 125, or if it's going to just be a normal cycle. But if the SPY is dumping while GME's ripping during a cycle, we've seen what happens, and that's liquidations and market volatility and crazy stuff. So maybe this is the squeeze. Maybe that's kind of what's going to happen, because when it rallied this time, and we're kind of expecting anyways with the stock split, hoping that causes a share recall, and also them taking questions at the shareholder meeting. This is a lot of new stuff coming, or at the earnings call rather. So this last one we had from 77 to 200, this was in this kind of bear market rally. Remember this? Exact same day. So 318 to 329, that was right here on SPY. So during this rally. And if SPY is tanking, it's typically brought GME down with it. So that's why I'm uncertain, because if we start inversing, that's even bigger to me than if we just have momentum with the market, because that's liquidations, closing of the longs, closing of the shorts. So closing the longs coming down, closing the shorts going up. And if you look back on all these other ones, 11-2, it was during not like a market downturn. That was right here. That was just in a little bull rally right there. This pinch, 824. It's always been kind of in a somewhat normal environment, other than back here when we had it inversing and it dropping the SPY. So curious to see if it's setting up for its Volkswagen dip and rip with the SPY tanking, or if we have another cycle to play it out. I don't know. I don't feel like we are going to have another cycle to play it out, because I think the market's been basically in a bear market for 6 months at the minimum. I'd say a year for really, but the main indices since January. And you'll have a bear market for 6 months and then a crash for whatever, a week during that time, or maybe multiple crashes on the way down. And it might be setting up for that once again. So I don't know. I'm very careful on covered calls right now, though, even though it's been pretty good. This little move right here got me bullish. Just all that volume and then that green. The market starts tanking in the next few days. I'm not sure if GME is going to really drop below where it was. And even today, you can kind of see it. Look at it hit that 9 moving. Look, you kind of see it kind of held up. SPY just continued to sell off. GME kind of found a floor at 90, and now it's starting to come up. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm pretty excited for the next 30 days, I'd say. Here's options we did. Cover calls, 121s. Oh, it was really weird today. Calls were not losing premium. I sold 121 covered calls, weeklies. I sold them right here, market open, and they were worth more on this bump right here. Those calls are worth more. So if you bought them here, you'd have lost, or you would have made money. You could have sold them here, because I shorted them here and I was down on them here. This whole thing, they didn't move at all. This whole move down, really strange. I closed out of them. The premiums were not moving really at all. So I sold 121s on here. I mean, I made a little bit on them, but very, very minor with that 121 play. Here's a call credit spread. I opened up on Tesla, 750, 745. It's got to close below that. Then I shorted some more, 97 calls. These one I did better on. These were closer to the money. I bought them back pretty early, just because it was closer to the money, and the premiums weren't dropping. So it's like, I just want to get out of this. Bought 1,000 more birds. It's at like 80 cents. That brought my average cost down a whole $1 for $800 investment. So I'm down with that. Bought to open. Oh, this is me closing more covered calls. Yep. Oh, and then my Corsair, I think that's a legged in position that I closed. Here's a Tesla play. That's the only thing really green right now. So I'd like to get a debit spread, but I'm out of the money on this credit spread on Tesla, which should be good. I did buy another 120 call today on GME for June. The June monthly contracts, that's the 17th of June. So if we have a rip after earnings, that should cover it. That being said, I don't want to be buying them 2 weeks early if it's not going to go until earnings. So we'll see. I'm just cautiously buying into those. I just bought one today. What's nice about this then is I can leg into it and just treat them like shares more or less and sell some covered calls on them. So that's why I did the 121 strike today. Turn it down a tiny bit. That's why I did the 121 covered call today, is because I have 120 long calls. So able to make a little bit more for those now, so I can short 4 121 calls. Also got the 600 shares in here too, which of course I can short calls on that. Looks like GME is kind of bouncing and coming back down. On the hourly, I mean, it has flipped bearish. We've got bearish MACD, red under the 9. These candles, these candles are silly. It did look like kind of a little cup and handle here for a bit, but I think this is kind of low for a handle. And then now we've got, this divergence also, which would mean bearish. Well, it's kind of here. Let's see. No, not necessarily. Yeah, because the peak on the MACD here is right here, and then this is higher and that's higher, so not much of a divergence there. On the 4 hour, 4 hours more bullish MACD, green over the 9. Looks like it's really just finding a floor, so it's kind of giving signals both ways, so maybe consolidation is what I was thinking. It kind of had this head and shoulders too. Here's the head, here's the shoulder, inverse head and shoulders rather. So it's holding up pretty well. SPY really dumps, we might get some volatility to the downside. Breaking that 70-ish level. If it goes down there, I don't think it's gonna last too long. Kind of like here, it'll be a big day and then volume will come in and it'll start rallying. I feel like it's setting up to do kind of this trough area. We've got our bottom, so we're gonna consolidate here and then probably come back down and retest maybe this 80 level and then have our rally. So I'm thinking we're doing a trough right now, similar to kind of this range in here. It's trough before a rally. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. On Fidelity, I did have, so my 125 covered calls that I remember, I had them at 80, I had them at 93, finally got them up to 125, and then last week actually when it got all bullish, I closed those covered calls. Only spent like $300 or $400, closed 5 of them, so I got out of all of them, which I was stoked about. Because those I was like, oh boy, I'm riding these things to Valhalla. But I was able to get out of them. Right now I have 190 cover call that I rolled over, and then I've just been day trading, scalping 20 delta or 25 delta cover calls on here. So, and then I don't know, $300 on here, and then on E-Trade another $300 from those calls. Just nibbling here and there, trying to stay on my toes to get out of them quickly if I need to. I am in one cover call on here. I'm gonna probably have to roll tomorrow or Friday. It's 89. But this 120 leap call, I don't have any cover calls on that, so I have some exposure to the upside. Yeah, kind of trying to pay down the margin on Fidelity, so cover calls on there is good. Selling off a little more into close. This is a weak SPY. I'm probably have to open up a Tesla play. More Tesla bearish plays. That's what I got. I'm back. See you guys on Discord. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.